ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. Welcome back, because we're here for episode 4 of Seriously Casual. You know, it's our monthly get-together where the 5 of us, myself, Danny, Colin, Super, Chris, Holden, and Darth. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Howdy.
All right, and we're here to discuss a video game randomly selected from a selection of games chosen by the 5 of us, where we have a month to play it, collect our thoughts, and meet here at the end of the month for the discussion. Game this month being discussed is Contra 3, The Alien Wars. It was one of Darth's picks, which I think is an interesting choice, Darth, since you are the youngest member, and it's definitely a classic SNES title.
We have a history.
Oh, it is? Do you? Would you like to elaborate?
We do. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. So, every sort of like summer when I was a kid, I would go down to my grandparents' house back on like the eastern side of Canada, and they had an NES, which was crazy because like I didn't have anything old like that. Like on like my side of the family that was from the west. Sorry, they were there in the east. And they had an NES. And there were a lot of games on there that I was not able to like understand as a kid or play. Like there's so many games I just wasn't able to play, or I just didn't even find fun. But one game that I like probably the most was Zelda 2. I played that one a lot. And then the one that I played the most after that was Contra, like just the OG one. And I just really liked it, and I thought it was really awesome, and I played it a ton, but I never actually beat it as a kid until I discovered the Forsaken code, and then I got through it.
The legendary code.
Forsaken. Come on.
It was, I don't know. It's definitely not Forsaken. I'm more on that later, but I don't know. I think that the game was just like really fun, and I was able to. It was like very simple. Like people would be able to just like play it with me. You know what I mean? As a little kid, like my grandparents were even able. Were like, oh yeah, we remember playing Contra like with your dad and his sister, and they play Contra with me, and so yeah, I didn't want to play that one because I wanted to like play something new, and so I was like, I heard Contra 3 was really hard, and also really good. So I was like, all right, so what if we try this? I wanted to see if maybe, that experience still held up from like my OG Contra experience. And so, yeah, I picked it, and then it got picked for my first pick, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's basically why I picked it.
I like that you like have it's interesting that Contra is your like, well, yeah, my family played Contra together, because it's like me, like I played Duck Hunt and like Mario Kart with my parents, but Contra is like badass.
Yeah, it's hardcore, dude. Like you grew up hard, dude.
Yeah, no, I know, right? My grandparents were like, they played Zelda 2, Contra, and freaking Final Fantasy 4.
So
Dude, that's pretty cool.
when are we getting
I know,
your
right?
parents on this panel?
Million years from now.
All right, sold.
Million
Cool.
years. Yeah, so everybody mark down the date.
Okay.
Yeah. It's happening.
Darth bringing up co-op. Did anybody play a co-op? Holden, I know you had mentioned some plans to. But...
Yeah, I did. It was an interesting experience because I hadn't played the game before, and I also hadn't played RetroArch online, and the rollback shenanigans were pretty hilarious. There's a lot of, oh, you died. Oh wait, no, you're running forward in front of me. But it worked surprisingly well, and we had a good time. But I ultimately finished the game solo.
Nice.
Contra games are actually more difficult with a second player. It's not intuitive to like think that, but they are. I think
feel
most
like if
people
you
would
had
agree.
someone where both people knew the game well, you'd have like an advantage maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of like, you're pulling me across the screen and then an enemy spawned on me sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Classic.
Stop getting me killed. Stop dying.
I have kind of like I honestly feel like I had a different experience with multiplayer. I played with Flute. I don't know if any of you guys saw us playing Omega Strikers in chat.
Mm-hmm.
He's like my cousin. He's basically my brother. I don't know if we want to get into like the multiplayer experience too much right now, but I played it multiplayer up to like a little bit past halfway through, and then I finished it by myself. So I feel like I got a good idea of sort of both.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a little info here on Contra 3. Obviously, we can tell with box art on there. Classic. So I'm going to say, I love when this game starts up because it's that Konami logo. Like,
Oh yeah,
developed
So
and
good.
published by Konami.
So
And
good.
it's just like, these were the Konami bangers.
that was back in the day when if you heard that sound, you saw that logo, you knew something sick was following.
Yeah, back in the day, like the game came out, it was March 26th, 1992 in the US. And it actually, interestingly enough, saw a Game Boy port in 1994 and then another port in 2002 to the Game Boy Advance.
Wait, they put Contra 3 on the original Game Boy?
Yes, and they actually had to change the controls because
What?
obviously,
Yeah.
so they took out
Yeah, no
bombs
shoulders.
and weapon switching.
That's bizarre. I
Yeah.
never knew that existed.
Same.
But yeah, and also I had to note this. Apparently, the power release is named Super Probotector,
Mhm.
which is a
Yes.
portmanteau, like the combination of the words robot and protector. And they replaced Bimmy and Jimmy, or whatever the dudes' names are, with robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
that with the
it's-
first Contra 2 as well.
Yeah, it was too violent, I guess, in Europe, so they had to put robots in instead of humans.
And it runs at 50 hertz.
Ugh.
Ugh.
A real nightmare.
I don't even want to know what the sound
Naturally.
effects sounded like. They probably sounded so bad.
Fards.
But before we get into our gameplay and thoughts of Contra, let's talk about what we did last month. What games were the games that you were playing when you weren't playing Contra 3? What was keeping you away?
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Oh, Mega Strikers.
I had some Diablo 4, actually a fair amount of Diablo 4 in there. But yeah, it was Diablo 4 and Street Fighter all the way.
Yeah, Omega Strikers.
A
Any-
lot of
any
Final
other
Fantasy 16 and some World of Warcraft because I have a problem.
Oh, you're
It's okay.
you're coming crawling back to the. Did you say World of Warcraft?
Yeah, man.
He can't escape.
Oh no!
I like how you said crawling.
crawling.
That's
back.
the only way to
Crawling,
return to
crawling.
that game.
Yeah, I
is
was
to
about to
crawl.
say you kind of crawl when you go back to WoW. You're like, I shouldn't, but man, I'm doing it.
Crawl even when you play WoW, dude.
Hey man, let's
You listen, you call and don't
It's
listen.
true,
Crawling.
dude. It's
Stop
fun.
it.
It's a fun crawl.
Don't listen to them calling.
It's just really slow.
But it's cozy.
It is cozy.
That's fair.
Speaking of not cozy, let's talk about this game.
Hold up.
Like Darth was saying, this game's kind of hard. Like, so I had played Contra 3 before. Like, I played it before, like, way back in the day. Like, when I was just like, I can emulate. I'm gonna play everything. And I played like a smattering of every game. And obviously during the Super Nintendo, I was like, oh yeah, Contra 3. I want to play that. And I was bad, and I was like, this game sucks. So I really didn't replay it until I did like a long Super Nintendo stream, and I got to like stage 2 when I got to the boss, and I was like, this mode 7 shit is whack. I don't know what this boss is doing, and I flushed it there. So I'm glad I came back to it and gave it an earnest try, because this time I was actually like, all right, I'm playing Contra 3, and yeah. I'm glad I played Contra 3.
Yeah, I think when you have the goal of beating versus like dipping your toes, you have a different mentality.
Absolutely.
And you start appreciating it a little more.
100%.
That's generally why I switched to my approach to my obsessive. I must beat every game because you really
Yeah,
appreciate.
I
things differently.
respect it. I respect
Versus
it.
trying every game for 5 minutes and then I don't know, you die once or it's slightly. Yeah, you get turned off pretty fast sometimes.
Mhm.
It's like all my Mario Maker levels.
No, man, they're classic. I will say, as somebody who just loves the feel of a game, like it means a lot to me in a game. I love that this game starts and like it puts you in a safe spot where you can like kind of hit some buttons and like, okay, this shoots, all right, this jumps, and then you're mashing the shoulder buttons, and then you see the guy like put the guns out both ways, and you're like, wait, what is he doing? What is that?
I have to
Contra
admit
man
something
doing? Okay.
about that. I didn't realize you could do it until an hour ago. You could do that thing with the two
I
guns.
didn't. Yeah, I also didn't realize till really late game.
You can do what, sorry?
If you hold both shoulder buttons, you equip both weapons, and if you hit fire, you jump and fire them in a circle.
Did you guys ever? Is it okay to talk about like another thing you can do with the weapon switching?
Yeah.
Or did you guys know that you can
Cheat.
with the crash rockets, if you fire them and rapidly change like the gun, if you have like both, like in both your slots you have the crash rockets, you do like a ridiculous
Yep.
amount of damage.
Yep.
What the heck?
Ridiculous.
This
Like,
guy
you
was
do, like, double
using
damage.
bugs.
You
I'm
kill
calling
bosses,
the
you
police.
just melt them.
Instantly, just melt.
You just melt everything.
Carried me so hard on some fucking bosses. Anyways,
Well,
Everyone's like, "Shh, God damn it.
that's it. This is invalidated. It's canceled. Discussion
Yeah,
over.
invalidated.
Everyone, we're racing right now. Replay the game."
Yeah, Darth, you're cut, and everybody else has to replay it.
Yeah, speaking of invalid playthroughs, I kind of had to cram at the end, so I ended up playing on easy with the 7 lives and stuff.
Nothing
So
wrong with-
I feel like it's not a legitimate playthrough.
No,
It's
I
a
did.
legitimate
I'll
easy
be
mode
honest.
playthrough.
This was the first game of all our games where I had to use save states.
that's fair.
And to
I
be
think that's
honest, I feel pretty terrible about it.
everybody's judging themselves so harshly. I feel like
I will judge you guys over it, but I
If it makes
lost
you-
gamer cred.
It makes
I
you feel
say-
any better, Holden. I also use save states, and I don't feel bad. So
Okay.
Yeah, I say if you feel terrible for using save states, then like, good. And if you don't, good.
Yeah.
Did you know that you can get infinite lives in the first stage?
Listen here, Darth. What
No,
else
I
did you
didn't, game
cheat
facts.
with?
Anyways,
But I just like back to that first stage. I think we talked about this with another game. I think it was Shinobi, where this game teaches you really well. Like the thing flies by in the top, you're like, "What's that? I gotta shoot that!" And it drops a bee, and you're like, "Is that a bomb?" And you get it, and it's a shield, and you're like, "Oh, barrier." And then right after that, more fly by, and while you have the barrier, it introduces enemies, and then you shoot the things above you, and it drops 2 spreads. And it's like, okay, so you get those, and you're like, oh, you have different weapons. Oh, they're different weapon slots. You can have 2 of the same. Like, in that little tiny bit, it tells you so much about the game.
I never
It
noticed
absolutely
that, but
does.
That's so
There's-
true.
It was incredibly intuitive right off the bat. Even this stage that's on the screen right away, they placed that little windmill thing in a completely safe spot.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I grab onto this automatically, you know?
Oh, man. Me and those things did not get along, but we'll get into
I
that
don't think they
later.
get along with anyone.
So I beat that mini boss. Speaking of the little windmill thing, and the little thing spinning around ripped me off the girder and sucked me into the hole. And I was like,
Yes.
okay, well, I guess I'm dead now. And that was one of
Bazinga
those
yourself,
moments. Where,
dude.
that's one of those moments where I was like, you know what? I don't really feel bad about using save states because that was some shit. That's
That's
the
what
yeah.
happened to me.
The thing about Contra is it's designed. It's like it's a trial and error game. You're supposed to play it a lot, over and over and over
Yeah.
and over.
Yep.
You're supposed to have so many playthroughs. I mean, that's the first 2 Contras are like that as well. So like that, it's expected that there's going to be shit like that's like Dark Souls. Like, how many people like die to unexpected shit that they never saw coming in Dark Souls? Everybody.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah, and you feel yourself learning because
Yes.
you're seeing things, and it's
You
pretty
def-
satisfying.
you definitely get smoked by a lot of stuff in this game. I'm like, hey, what's that? Oh. I'm like, oh,
Conversely, it does make it feel really good when you're just popping off, not consuming lives, and you hear that little extra life noise.
Mhm.
That's a really fun feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was playing, I got to maybe stage 4. No, this is stage 3 that we're seeing now, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
stage 4 is where I got up to one normal, and I found myself like slowly making progress and getting a little farther every time, and I found that super satisfying.
Hmm.
It was at stage 4 when I decided I don't think I'll be doing this tonight in normal mode, so I switched to easy. And I don't know what difficulty everyone else played on, but
Normal.
there's actually there's some differences in like enemy spawns on easy, so it's pretty
Yes.
interesting. I think
Yes.
yeah.
like the dogs
Yeah.
don't even attack you on easy
Oh, dang.
at the start.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
that the game is substantially harder starting in stage 4 too, as well.
Oh yeah, stage 4 is crazy.
Can you remind me which one's stage 4?
When you're on the
You're
bike at
on
the
the
start.
bike, yeah.
Oh,
frickin'
I'm so
bike
excited for us to
level,
talk about
dude.
stage 4.
Yeah, that level.
Such a cool level.
Yeah, it's the game definitely, like you guys saying, it's funny. I felt stage 4 definitely, but the game's difficulty kind of stayed pretty even, except for like
Agreed.
after that jump right there, like it stays, like it never like kind of sequentially gets like crazy harder each stage. It was like there was the kind of that jump, but then it was pretty even like throughout, in my opinion.
I found the last level to be one of the easiest. I think stage 4 was by far the hardest. Stage 5 was not
5,
very
yeah, I think 5 is the easiest by far. But I find it's kind of hard to really gauge difficulty when I played on easy because it was all kind of
Yeah, your run's invalidated, dude. So.
yeah.
All right, okay, so we're re-racing. Chris is out. Darth is out.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm out. I save stated.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah,
No
so
save
stated.
states.
Colin's out. Super, let's go.
I don't know. I thought the game wasn't really that hard until well, I mean, there were moments that were hard, but for the most part, like, this game's not that bad. Like, and the moments that are hard will eat all your lives and
Yes.
fucking game over you, right?
Absolutely. I think
But,
the video, I'm about to get super smacked by
Yeah.
these robots.
these fuckers.
See,
yeah.
these robot guys. Well,
These
here's the
things,
thing.
man.
The quarter
I've played this
pumpers.
game before. All right, let me just say that right off the bat. I've played it before and I've beaten it before. So this was like I've completed this game many times in the past, and by many times I'd say probably a dozen or so, around there. These, if you know how to fight these guys, they're fucking free. Dude.
Yes.
They just
Sometimes.
instantly die. If you have crash rockets, these guys just die. They're just
Yeah.
gone.
These crash
But-
rockets for these
I
guys?
was hanging from the ceiling trying
Yeah.
to juke him,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
What Goot said, you have to grab the wall. I did not know you
Yep.
could grab the wall until like 4 or 5 attempts in.
And the
Oh,
ceiling.
no.
Dude, how did
And I was like, so I'm just, I have to die here. And then I was like, oh, I can grab the wall. Oh, I can climb the ceiling. I can just kind of climb across. And then
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah,
What
that
I do
fight.
against those guys is I run in with the crash rockets, and before they start moving, I just blast them as many times as I can, and then I climb up to the corner, the top left corner, and just start blasting. And then usually by that point, the red guy, I think he's red, he jumps to the ceiling, and you climb the other side, and then you do the same thing in the other corner, and by that point, one of them is gonna die.
Yep.
And then the other one follows shortly, and they just. And then the guy that follows, you just shoot his face until he dies. Like,
Yeah, and if you stockpiled bombs at that point, it's also
Yeah.
quite helpful.
I used
That was
to
a fight.
know
It was a complete brick wall for me. But then the robots were actually harder than the skeleton guy, the big Terminator
Yeah,
guy.
I
It
agree.
was like it was a very simple pattern to learn. But that's one of those things where it felt pretty impossible at the start, and then learning it and then getting it perfect is very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Cool boss.
Another moment that's really difficult in this game. The motorcycle levels, it's hard, but if you like know how to handle each section and like it, you can get through it pretty like without dying.
Yeah, that's
what I
definitely a
found.
one weird trick for that motorcycle part in the start.
Yeah, like I got the only part of that level where I die is well, sometimes fighting the guy who is flying and you're on the helicopter and he
Oh
has
my
his,
god, that
his
part's
little
so
sword
cool,
and his
dude.
grappling hook.
that guy's sick.
But and then the rockets, it's really easy to die when you're climbing on all the rockets, firing at that big ship.
That ate my lives the most.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, everything.
of the things that made me struggle the most was that part, because it was just the perfect amount of fuckery going on. Like the two cannons,
Yeah.
one on the top, one on the bottom, the rockets exploding, like moving. I was just like overwhelmed at first, so it took me a while to get a hold of that part.
That's where I
Neat.
got on
Good.
normal that I can't beat on normal
Oh.
because it's on easy. It doesn't actually shoot, like it has a different attack on normal. So on easy, it's pretty simple. But
Right. Makes sense. Yeah. That is, yeah, I could see how that could be a big brick wall section. But the main part, well, okay, there's one other part. The boss on the second overhead level, that I'll die a bunch of times on that guy. I don't know how to beat that guy without dying.
I got to that boss in one sitting. It wasn't that long. I got to that boss and finished it, and I was like, I felt like I was going to have a seizure because I did not have the right weapons for that fight, right? So it was very long.
Yeah.
I didn't die, so I didn't have to use save states there. It just took a long time because it's not particularly hard to like avoid the attacks, but just like the spinning and the flashing and oof, it was rough.
Yeah, I don't like that fight or that level.
Yeah.
I don't like the overhead levels, period. I think
Yeah.
they suck.
Yeah, that one was an exercise in
overhead
frustration because it was like, hey, we spawned one of those fire ants right off screen, and it's going to shoot a fireball right when you're trying to do the tight platforming. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Or, dude, when you're on the big, giant, long bridges, and if you fire your gun once,
It breaks.
the entire bridge
Yeah.
fucking
And-
explodes.
An enemy can spawn on it, and you're like, oh.
You can see where the bridge is gonna break though if you look at it.
Yeah, I did notice that.
You can
But-
what?
You can see where the bridge is gonna break if you look at it. There's like a
Dude,
little.
the entire thing explodes. The whole bridge explodes.
Yeah, he's talking about a different thing.
Oh, on stage
Oh.
5, like whenever you're walking across and it's like
Yeah.
exploding behind you.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the highway that collapses. I'm talking about the bridge on the sand level.
Because like, why would you think that shooting your gun would cause this thing to collapse? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I just shot my gun like super hard the entire time I crossed it.
Danny's playing this game how I played this game right now
I think
on the stream.
I don't even remember.
Terrified of these
Just always
windmills.
shooting.
Well, yeah, holding Y with the shotgun specifically.
Okay, I feel like since we're talking about weapons, weapon tier list. Who wants to start us?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. S tier. In S tier, you have crash rockets, and I think. Okay, S tier is crash rockets by themselves.
I agree.
A plus is homing and flamethrower.
Yeah.
A is what else is there? Laser.
Yeah,
Laser and
laser,
spread.
normal, and
Spread,
spread. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, and then an A is laser and spread, and then all the way at the bottom in useless shit tier is the regular weapon, the normal gun.
I don't know
That's
if I
pretty spot
agree
on
with
for
the
mine.
regular weapon being worse. Like spread, I feel is or laser in the side-scrolling stages is not as useful as the regular shot sometimes because you
Yeah,
can
you-
have one on screen at the same time.
You ever have just a laser and you're like, nah, I'm just gonna use the normal one. This thing's gonna let me
Yup.
down again.
No.
I used the laser exclusively on the final boss and just fucked him up.
Oh, maybe that's why I had trouble with it then.
I prefer the laser is great. I
Yeah,
mean,
it does so much damage.
and the overhead stages, it never goes away. It's just a constant.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it
the overhead
it
is
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 really
overhead
good.
stages.
disgusting in those. Yeah.
But
It
what's
also
cool-
goes through enemies in the 2D. Sorry.
What's cool about the weapons though is that they can be pretty situational too, which I always
Yep.
appreciate.
Mhm.
All right, so let's get another list. Who wants to go next?
I'll
feel
go
like-
next.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tear them. I'm just gonna say them off the top of my head, which I think are the best, and then down to the worst.
Okay.
I think the best is Crash Rocket because it does a lot of damage. I think the best after that actually is Homing Rocket because like it is situational, but when it's good in the situation, it like trivializes some things, like especially that boss fight on the bike level, makes that fight very, very, very easy.
Yeah, it lets you
Um,
just focus on the platforming.
Exactly right. That it just like takes away like having to think about stuff. It sucks against that boss like on the rockets though. Like it literally like is not able to function during that fight. So it's got high highs and low lows. And then after that, I think I would probably do spread just because it's like the only one to me that felt like good no matter what situation I was in. It was not situational. And then after that, probably flamethrower, then laser, then the regular game. Did I miss one?
So, I'm okay. So I should have said this earlier when it was my list, but I kind of forgot. The thing about the flamethrower is it's really good in certain situations, like what level? Is it? Level 3. The
Mhm.
first robot with the drill.
Yep.
That's like below you flying.
You just angle
You don't
it
even
through
have to
and-
get onto the. You don't have to
Mhm.
get onto the spinning propeller. You
Yeah.
just hang there and shoot diagonally and just
I think that's
kill him instantly.
The only time I ever used that gun was for that boss fight. Otherwise,
And then
Every
the,
time.
the mini boss that immediately follows that guy, it's also very, very useful on. You can kill him pretty much immediately. Like the first time he attempts to attack you, you can kill him if you shoot early enough and get all your hits in. It
Yeah.
kills that guy pretty easily too. I know it's useful because it basically puts a shield in front of you. or like you can you're just swinging a giant hitbox around that's
Yeah,
just always active.
and very satisfying. There's also that part in level 4 where the guys are jumping out of the bottom of the plane, and you just got to swing it around up there.
Yeah, you
That's a
just
lot of fun.
whip it side to side, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
but it was
fucked.
good for there too. I think my issue with it was that it didn't have like a lasting hitbox, which was an issue. If you like wanted to like, obviously you can switch weapons too, but like if there was a situation where you needed to like jump to somewhere, you couldn't like fire bullets and then keep moving. You had to like land and then start your flamethrower back up, and it just killed me a lot of times, which made me like angry at the flamethrower. But obviously, yeah, there were some boss fights that just like murked certain things.
Bad. I think it's good for most of the boss fights, to be honest.
I just never wanted to get close to most of the bosses. I was just like, oh, stay away, bye.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know that with the flamethrower, I never like wished I had it, but when I had it, I could usually fuck things up with it. So I was like enjoying it when I had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would always use it for level 3 all the way through.
That's one thing I will say about this game is like I actually think all the weapons are useful. Like that.
Yeah.
Contra 1 and Super C, that's not the case.
Yeah,
Especially Contra 1.
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
I feel like spread took a hit because like,
It did, definitely.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like they nerfed it because it was so good in Contra 1. I don't know about Super C because it's unusual for me, but I actually haven't played the second game in the series. But yeah, it's like I wonder if this is the first case of a weapon getting severely nerfed in a sequel.
It's the best weapon in Contra and Super C.
Not to
Actually,
be,
the flamethrower is really good in Super C too. But
not to be too off topic, but how are the first two games difficulty-wise compared to this one?
they're much easier. Much easier.
Oh, crazy.
I agree. I spent a lot of time with Contra 1 prior to playing this. Well, I say a lot of time, but I mean more time than I have ever spent
One
with
in-
it.
Yeah, they're not really that hard. Contra and
it's-
Super
yeah.
C, they're not really that hard. Not this game is fucking brutal. It's really fucking hard. But
Contra 1 I
actually
find is pretty easy to learn.
I like Contra and Super C better than this game. This is probably my least favorite Contra that I've played, but I still like it. I still think it's really good.
Hmm.
But I prefer the older Contra style where you start out with a semi-automatic weapon, and it just feels different. Like the starting weapon in this game just feels kind of hollow and weak and limp dick. Like the starting weapon in the original Contra is like it has like a punch. Like it feels like, you know, like there's some heft behind it.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
'Cause it's kind
It's
of just like
Contra
a
4. If
water
you guys
hose.
haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It's a DS exclusive, unfortunately,
oh snap.
but it actually makes good use of the dual screens. But yeah, Contra 4 is really good. It throws back to the old Contra style.
I was
Very
just
good game.
reading about it, and I'm interested in playing it. Actually, I just got
Yeah.
my Magic DS.
Yeah,
So-
play it. It's great.
So I'm gonna have to come to the defense. I'm gonna go through my tier list. Obviously, I think we are all unanimous that Crush Rockets are just the best. Those things are just disgusting. But you know, I would take the regular gun over flamethrower and laser. Like I personally thought laser was absolutely garbage in any situation. Except for the overhead stages, because I think it was Holden who said you can only have one laser on the screen. So if you just happen to shoot the laser in the wrong spot and you don't like switch weapons, it's like, oh fuck, and you like panic and then you're shooting blanks, like it's not coming out. And I'm like, fuck the laser, any other weapon. So I would say Crush Rockets, homing, like when you needed them, but not on bosses. You'd be fighting that boss for 100 hours. And then spread, regular gun, flamethrower. Actually, yeah, regular gun, flamethrower, laser, dead last. Except on the overhead stages. I found out how nasty it was on that stage 5 because I like Colin, I was doing that boss like where you're spinning and there's shit coming out and you're trying to strafe, and I'm like, there is so much going on here. I don't know, like aiming is just too much. And I was like, you know what? You don't have to aim the laser in these stages. And I just like got close to the boss and held it on like, I think you hold it on for like 3 seconds and he just blows up. And I was like, okay, laser's tight here.
Yeah, I think the boss like drops the laser too throughout the fight.
Yeah, like the little centipede things will drop the laser.
I have a feeling that stage 5 boss is very different on easy because it died within seconds for me on both times I did it.
Dude, I was fighting that thing for like 5 minutes.
Were you using homing or something? Because that's another
Yeah.
thing Danny just mentioned. If you're using homing on a boss, you'll be
Yep.
fighting forever. Because I tried homing. A couple times I got stuck with 2 homing rockets on the first boss, the turtle guy, and that was a nightmare because he can only hit him on the one spot, but the homing rockets are flying everywhere.
It like wants to go to his face, and he's just
Yeah.
there.
That's
and,
one
like,
situation where I definitely think the regular starting weapon is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the homing rockets give you infinite lives on the first stage.
Oh my god, this guy's cheating again.
Is the Konami code in this
Cheating,
game?
though?
So sweaty.
Only in the Japanese version.
I don't
Hmm.
know if it's cheating. I think it's more like using the game's bullshit against it.
Cheating.
It's cheating.
This game, I mean, dude, this
Cheater
game.
logic.
I don't know. I think it's relatively fair and straightforward.
I agree.
Sure, there's a few parts where it's like, oh, well, that was fucking stupid. I didn't see that coming. But
Yeah.
for-
Yeah, I mean, if you have, I had the expectations of like, oh, this is a nasty arcade game. I'm gonna get my ass kicked, and through that lens, it, you know, like what Danny's talking about, how it teaches you stuff and lets you figure the movement out and controls. Like, it's actually pretty fair all around. It's just very hard.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's in the class of arcade game that's not complete bullshit quarter muncher though. Like you can
Yeah.
once you see it easily.
Mhm.
Well, I say easily, but I mean
It's
If you
Also
if
the
you
home
did,
console
if
version.
you really
of it.
wanted to and you dedicated yourself to it, any of us could do it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
not trying to flex, but I did when I went back to it. And
Yeah, you posted that message in the whole playthrough. I was like, I'm never gonna be as good as Danny.
no, but I'm gonna say it, like Super said, like with the time, and this kind of leads into like my thoughts of the gameplay that I'll hold for later. But Super mentioned it earlier, saying a lot is like once you know in this game, which leads to it felt like a shmup when I did that. Because in a shmup, like you're going through, like you're not messing up and you're just nasty
Yeah.
buff. Like you're just cruising through and you got extra lives and like a fuck up isn't quite as bad as it would be. Like, cause if you're at 1 extra life and you're like, oh man, I got 1 life, I better beat this boss. But it's like, if you know what you need to do, know where you need to be and what weapons you need to have, like you're getting extra lives. So I got to the final stage with 8 extra lives. So I got to the boss, like the bosses of that, and like having known the bosses, I just got to the final boss with 7 lives and was like, all right.
Yeah,
Dang, this guy's a better gamer than me.
No.
Yeah, I think regarding this game's difficulty in general, like everything that I found difficult was something that I couldn't really foresee. And like Super was saying at the start, it's designed to be something you play over and over, and you kind of have to, experience it. And it feel to what Danny's saying, like it feels like once you know, you can very much like see that there's pretty much like a choreographed move here that you can do to just completely invalidate what it's trying to throw at you.
Yeah.
Which was it's a product of its time. I found it both rewarding and frustrating. Once you nail it, you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I have to do. But before that, it's like, okay, how was I supposed to react to that? Thanks.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because you'll have the segments and you just sit there pissed and like dying. You're like, this is stupid. There's just nothing you can do. And then you find out the thing you can do and you're like, this is easy. I'm just going to do this.
Yep.
Right.
I found some aspects of the game to be random though. Like sometimes I'd go through an area and I would just like be super fine. But then sometimes I would go through an area and just get like shit on. And that was especially the case playing 2-player on a certain part of the game, which people who played any Contra multiplayer would know. But I could talk about that later. I mean, I guess I can even talk about it
Yeah, go
right now.
ahead.
It's pretty quick.
Let
But,
it
like,
rip.
in the part right before the robots, I was playing multiplayer, like the rising section.
Oh, dude, you can have it rise 1 pixel and doink your buddy. That happened
Yeah,
to me.
and that was in Contra. That was in the first Contra too. That was an issue in the first Contra. There's a whole level that is vertical, and it's so bad in multiplayer. And it was so hard to get past those robot bosses because like it was very often that like one person would get to the top of that area with like 1 life left, which was just like a shit show. School time.
and then you both feel bad, and you're like, "This isn't fun. Why are we doing this?"
I had way more fun playing it like multiplayer than playing it by myself. Way more fun.
Yeah, there was the fun factor. And like, all right, dude, we'll just try again.
Yeah,
we-
totally.
Co-op, Danny. We didn't do it.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, you
that's-
just beat the
that's,
game today.
Wait,
that's
I
awkward.
mean,
Had you beaten it earlier, I would have been down.
I think you and Brian were like, you got to beat the game first. I'm like, well,
Oh, where Danny just died, I biffed that jump like literally every time.
Yep. That
Happened a few
jump
times for me
was.
too.
It would take all my bombs, and it pissed me off so bad.
So,
here-
oh,
sorry.
sorry, go on.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just curious because a few of you had played this before. I didn't realize till like 3 hours of playing the game that you can hold like R to be stationary while you shoot, so you can aim.
yeah, it
That
definitely
was a
changes-
blunder, dude.
It makes certain things much
Like,
easier.
wow, I can play the game now.
So
I didn't even know
again,
you could do that, dude. What
Are
the
you
fuck?
serious?
I'm gonna
Yes.
say this.
I
again.
tried. I literally
You've been
tried pressing the R button. I was like, can you do this?
playing
And
this
I
game
wasn't
your
able
whole
to.
life,
So
dude.
bad. Literally.
So
That was a
I
good
think
bit.
I've mentioned this every episode so far,
I know what you're
but
gonna say.
I know,
highly-
dude. I've been
highly
meaning to.
recommend that you read the manual. Also, if you don't feel like Googling, I mean, it takes literally like less than 5 minutes. It's easy to find it. What you just ask me, I'll just give it to you.
You'll fax it.
Yeah, I'll run to your house with it in my mouth.
Nice.
No, I won't do that.
Is that extra?
Yeah. I have PDFs of every SNES game manual, so
It was,
if you want it,
it was
just
so-
let me know.
something that was brought up earlier. I didn't know, like you guys with the double guns and stuff, finding out stuff at the last like final minute of the game. I didn't realize
Mhm.
until my last run through of the game. Like, well, actually, I found it out when I was doing the 1cc. I accidentally hit B on the top down stages, and my guy pancaked. And I was like,
Oh,
what does
yeah.
this do? And it's funny because I was doing, like, I didn't realize what it did then. I was trying hard after I beat it on normal. And that first highway stage, the top down one, is bullshit if you don't know
Dude.
that you can do that.
Yeah.
Because the guys will
Yeah.
only shoot at you and be vulnerable when you have your back turned to them. So I had no idea how to hurt them because I didn't know.
That's messed up. I
Dude,
figured
hard mode
that-
in this game is super fucked up, dude.
It
It is
is.
so much harder than normal.
Yeah, like Chris was saying, how easy takes away spawns, hard adds spawns, and
Oh, dude,
everything has
no
more
way.
health.
And they shoot way more
Yeah.
frequently,
There's just-
and the bullets travel like twice as fast.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Jeez.
That sounds crazy.
Try it. Just like out of morbid curiosity, literally go try and beat stage 1.
I'll
on
work
hard
my
mode.
way up to it. I think. And I'll be normal.
We believe in it.
This definitely feels like a game that I'm gonna keep coming back to because I've been doing with Gradius on my Super Nintendo. Just
Yeah, this game, it's one of those games, that you just throw it on every now and then and see how far you can get,
yeah, I felt like I was never gonna beat Smash TV until I finally beat Smash TV. So I feel like
Yeah.
this one is also very doable.
And the thing about Smash TV is, in my opinion, I think it's way fucking harder than this game, and this game's already really hard.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you could do it. You could do it, Chris.
Oh, here's a funny tidbit I noticed because I know you guys all like the really dumb stuff I noticed.
Of course.
I died when I was pancake mode in the overhead section, and I noticed my guy flipped left and right because I had switched guns, and I realized it's because it mirrors your sprite, and that same logic carried over to when I was pancaked. It's my fun
funny.
Contra 3 fact for the day.
I like
I
that.
love
That's
that.
That's
wacky.
interesting. I kind of figured the pancakes worked that way because like the 3D sections in Contra had like the same sort of idea when you go through them. You
Yes.
can pancake and just dodge under the bullets. But I
You can
see
also
that.
do it, in the regular 2D level.
I actually have two things I want to say. That it was really cool in the overhead sections how you could just switch left or right handed for
Mhm.
like getting good angles. Felt like I was playing like Rainbow Six Siege on the SNES. But the other thing I appreciated about them is it feels like they realize people didn't like those sections as much, so it was really nice you only get 2 of them.
I really
Yeah.
like them. I
Yeah.
thought they were awesome. I thought they like broke up the game.
Yeah,
to
no,
make
it's
it,
good
like-
pacing, and
That's
if,
the
if
idea,
they
yeah.
overstayed their welcome, it would have been terrible.
Yeah, and they're
but
super
it
short.
was
And when
nice.
on 2-player, you can both choose where to start and run them even faster.
Oh, that's
Oh,
that's fun,
yeah.
right?
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like me and Flute, we'd be like, "Hey, you're gonna start there. I'm gonna start there," and we'd have the highway level done in like 15 seconds.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah, it's very quick. with 2 players.
Yeah.
The thing I think I like the most about those levels is it does feel like a different take on the behind the back levels from Contra 1. It's sort of similar, but it kind of takes advantage of the Super Nintendo, like Mode 7, crazy sprite.
I still kind of prefer
rotating and stuff.
I still kind of prefer the OG 3D levels, though. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, versus the overhead levels, yeah, in Contra 3, but I think the overhead levels in Super C are the best at all 3.
Oh, they did overhead in Super C. See, now I look like a fool because I didn't know that because I didn't play didn't play the prequel. My world's falling apart.
Oh God.
Oh no.
All right. Everybody change your pick to Super C so we can play that next, and Chris will finally feel validated.
That's my favorite Contra game. Just throwing it out there.
I'm definitely gonna revisit or visit, I guess, the other games in the series. Well, at least Super C and Contra Hardcore and Contra 4.
Yeah,
I would also recommend Operation C on the Game Boy. That's a good game. And Contra Hardcore on the Genesis that game's fucked up. It's good, but it's super fucked up. It's harder than this game.
What's
And
that?
Shattered Soldier is also really good.
What's the name of the one on Xbox Live? I keep thinking it's also like I'm getting Hardcore mixed up because I think that one's called that too.
There was a game called Hardcore something : something.
Oh yeah,
Right.
it was like a spiritual successor. That's like a really anime 3D Contra-ish kind of dealy.
I know there's Neo Contra that's like isometric, and everyone says it sucks. I've never played that. But Shattered Soldier is like a 2D PS2 game. Really good. Really good game. Highly recommend it. And Hardcore is the Genesis one that's super fucking weird. And you could play as a dogman. A dogman.
Sold.
Yeah, I was about to say, now I have to check this out.
Yeah.
You had me at Dogman.
Well, Contra 4 also super good. You can also play as a lot of different characters in that game.
So what's interesting that I found extra interesting, the developer, like the lead programmer of this, he actually, like, he wanted it to have like a really kind of 80s movie feel, which I did because I love 80s movies, and I can definitely like get behind that, and this game totally feels like that. I'd say that guy nailed it.
Dreams it, dude.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this. You probably are, or maybe not. I don't know. But the poses of the 2 characters in the original Contra on the, I think it's the title screen of the box art. I don't remember, but they're basically 1-for-1 remakes of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator and Sylvester Stallone and Rambo 2.
I wondered that when I was a
Yeah.
kid. I was like, those look like those guys.
It's literally they're it's like they took the shot from the movie and then just recreated it like to be the Contra guys. They're like in the same exact stance,
Yeah, well,
same
actually,
exact pose.
in the same vein, the JP box art, like that's on the screen right now. If you look at what the like the movie poster for the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Raw deal, it's that. Like this JP box art is that.
I love
That's
that.
sick.
Like-
Yeah, that's so sick.
So the guy definitely went. He said, "Fuck it, we're doing it 100%."
That's what Contra is all about, man. Just over the top, fucking crazy action.
Can we talk about
blazing.
the intro sequence? The
Yeah.
amazing.
Let's attack aggressively.
Let's attack aggressively.
I love how just concise and amazing it is to set the tone,
Yeah.
and then of course attacking aggressively.
Hey, world blew up. Revenge. Attack aggressively. You're like, all right, I'm sold.
Yeah.
It look like Jimmy Fallon. You're right. dude.
In the vein of being just an over-the-top game, the overall premise of going from each level, like on a narrative stance, if you could even call it narrative, is just so extreme. All it does is facilitate just amazing levels back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did something in the first level that I like freaking love, especially when like old games do, where like halfway through the level like it's like something happens and the level like changes. Like you know how like
The
in the
fire
first level the
segment,
fire happens, and
Yeah,
that reminded me of Sonic 3 when you're in the jungle in the first area, and then you fight the boss, and then like the second part of that like level is like the forest on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was super awesome.
That
yeah,
happens
absolutely.
in Demon's Crest too, actually, one level. exact same thing.
Back when games were good.
Yeah.
Oh man, we gotta do that.
Let's
We gotta
just-
do Demon's Crest.
Love Demon's
That
Crest.
is
Oh wait,
good.
that's a comment.
Yeah.
Demon's Crest is a video game.
Demon's Crest is. I heard about it. It
Yeah,
had
it's
you
a
play it with
game.
a controller. It's on a system.
I'm talking about any other video game ever.
Exactly. Speaking of talking about other video games ever, I'm gonna let this one rip. So this wasn't the lead programmer, but there were two other programmers. It was Hideyuki Suganami and Mitsuru Yaida. So they left Konami after this game to join Treasure, who was newly founded then, and they went on to make Alien Soldier, which is which is one of my picks.
Yeah.
So I can.
It is very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of this game in that, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I see that.
Yes. It has the same DNA.
That's cool.
It's also very difficult. Just like I mean, I don't.
It's a video game. It's on
Oh,
the
no.
Genesis. I've heard of it, maybe. Does anybody have any other like gameplay or like overall like?
I was just thinking when Darv was talking about the way the level changes and stuff, and what Holden was saying about just the flow of the levels. I just appreciate the variety in this game, similar to
Yeah.
Shinobi 3. It just keeps going, and it always something new. It's a lot shorter than Shinobi 3. Well, I wouldn't, maybe not a lot
It,
shorter,
it
but
felt it, like, I mean, if you look on YouTube, two different playthroughs. This one's shorter, right? But you also, at least I died 10 million times more in this, which made it longer, right?
Yeah. Something that I think kind of goes in the same vein of like what Chris just said is like what I found cool about the gameplay, I guess, like, because you did have to like play it over and over and over again, was that like depending where you died randomly and like what weapons you had, each playthrough was a bit different because you kind of had different tools at your disposal to deal with each situation, which kept the game feeling fresh on each playthrough for me. And I mean, I think that it was especially the case in two-player because sometimes you had two people going through a section, but then, oh, now you only have one guy going through that section. It's going to change things. So I think that made the loop of dying over and over again a little bit more manageable.
I think it's funny
Yeah.
that you feel that way because I agree with that, but I feel the complete opposite. As weird as that is to say, right back to back, because I felt like we were talking about it earlier. Once the section was solved, like, okay, these weapons drop here, this weapon's good here, and this
yeah,
other
I'm
weapon's good
Donnie
here.
on this one, Darth.
Like, I just played the game one way, and it made it very like, this is how this game goes. But
It made it flow better, that's for sure.
on the other flip side, I absolutely see playing it not like that is exactly the experience you had. Like, everything's different. Get these weapons, use those weapons. It plays out like this. So it's like I see both sides of that coin.
Yeah, I think for me it was like that for the bosses, and that's why I got really frustrated with them and kind of like annoyed by them. But like, because like I'd be like, okay, I have this weapon, I know it just destroys this boss. I'm gonna save it and use whatever other weapon I get. And so for that, in that sense, I think the bosses were annoying and tedious, but the like actually going through the levels, I think it's still.
I think like part of the satisfaction of it being different each time, as you described, is that's part of the learning process, right? It's mastering the game, so to speak. And it's just like with fighting games, like a lot of the fun is in learning and getting better, and then seeing the results of what you learned on the screen when you. Yeah, I think it's a very satisfying thing.
Yeah, this
That's
game,
like the base core that's the core principle of arcade games, really, in general.
yeah, make you want to play it. Like,
To learn
put-
how to beat it. Yeah.
put some money in this thing. Keep playing. You're like, okay.
Exactly.
And I promise you, if you would have played with the second person, like I think it would have made each playthrough a lot more different for you because it just gets so much more hectic with two people.
hmm
It's never really like static or the same because sometimes, oh, this person has that power up, so now you have to fight the boss with a different one or go through this area with a different one.
Right.
It totally like switched it up for me. I think it made it a
You
lot
took
less
my
frustrating.
flame, dude.
Dude, I needed that.
Dude,
You already
somebody
had a
takes my
laser.
fucking crush rockets and they're catching these hands. I'm saying that.
They take it and instantly die.
Oh god! See, this is why maybe it's a good thing that me and Colin didn't play.
no, this is why you and Colin have to do it on stream. It's gonna be great.
Make it.
I'll play it with you, Colin.
Our teamwork is immaculate, so it would be easy.
I feel like it would be a good stream thing. Maybe we should do that.
You
Yeah.
guys should. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Should play all the
You should
Contra
play-
games together.
Yeah, I think you should play the old ones.
Thanks,
Ooh.
marathon it.
You have to start because you can't play multiplayer at the second one without playing the first one. Right, Chris?
Yeah,
True.
absolutely.
I see.
If you try to boot it up and the game detects you haven't played the earlier ones, the screen comes up that says, "Video game piracy is illegal. Please consult your user manual for more details."
Not for resale.
I remember getting that screen in Donkey Kong Country 3 because I tried hooking up my Super Nintendo to my grandma's VCR or something, and then I panicked.
He called the
It's
cops
scary.
and self-snitched.
They're coming.
I didn't mean it. It was just a VCR.
Turned himself in at the police station.
At the age of 10. Like, I did it.
Yeah. I'm a menace
You're
to
going to
society.
juvie.
Kid
Lock
walks
me
in
up.
crying with a copy of DKC3 in his hands and like, not another one.
Throw away the key.
Can I just call out how cool the background of this stage looks?
Yes.
Yeah, they were
It's
all
beautiful.
tight.
Cool.
Like, because something I know it's maybe weird to talk about like art direction and shit like that in a game that's all about just like shoot the dudes, but
No, not at all.
there are like 6 written words on the screen during the entirety of this game. It's like the aliens are here, let's attack aggressively or whatever. But what is presented to you visually and in sound sets the tone perfectly. You don't need anything else. You don't need any exposition or anything. It's just like fucking crazy shit is happening. There's aliens, go get them, you know? And you're just in it, and it feels really good, and it looks really cool. Like specifically, I think my favorite background to kind of like show the world is level 3. You know, where
Same.
like the smokestacks are causing
Yes.
this like turbulent sky above. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Ultra pollution zone.
Very like dystopian.
Damn you,
You need our
aliens.
An acre 80s movie to come save your ass because you have fucked up that bad. Look at that pose he's doing right now.
The thing about this game, like you mentioned, like it's weird to have like super detailed art in a game where you probably won't notice it unless you like take time to look.
Yeah.
It's just back then. That's how Konami was, man. They were just all about quality, and that's like same with like Capcom. Like if they released a game, you could be assured it was going to be something quality.
Yeah, I have to make my obligatory. This game looks so amazing on a CRT.
Yeah,
and
I'm
the art
sure.
looks so good. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I got my component cables for my Super Nintendo. It looks fucking sharp.
I'm sure it
Beautiful.
does. I'm sure it really does look really nice.
I'm gonna reach out to you for the gameplay feed next time, Chris.
Did anybody other than Darth play this as a little kid?
I
I
did
did.
not.
You
I didn't play
played
this
the
one
first
as a little kid.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that's right. So what I was getting at is I played this as a little kid. Like I remember renting this from the video game rental store when I was too young to get past stage 2 reliably. So this first stage here is like nostalgic as fuck for me, but also like super iconic, both this and the second stage. You know, like I think Super maybe was saying that the top-down sections suck or whatever. I agree mechanically, but just like when I think of like top-down gameplay of a otherwise 2D thing or a horizontal thing, it's this.
Mhm.
It's how this game does that for me. Because I rented it and could never beat it, so I just remember the first time in like high school or whatever I got to stage 4. It's
Started
like,
crying.
this exists? Wait, the game exists past stage 3? What?
Goes to stage
Yeah.
10. No.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I see that. But they still suck.
It's really funny. So I never played this growing up, but now having played this now and like kind of looking at it and thinking about it, I played a shameless ripoff of this. That was a Jurassic Park game. It wasn't the original Jurassic Park game, which is also weirdly like top down, like, and it's even worse than any of the stages in this game could imagine. But it was the sequel to that. And now that I'm thinking about it, it is so not Contra. Like, it's Contra with dinosaurs instead of aliens. And I'm like, damn.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, it does.
maybe I should revisit that game because I didn't like it as a kid, but I'm like, that sounds kind of tight. Like, one of the
Yeah.
guns is like the regular gun, one is like the homing, and then I'm like, damn. So yeah, it's now that I think about it, it was a shameless ripoff. But
Yeah.
that doesn't
Well,
mean
Also
it's
not made by
bad.
Konami.
That shit still happens nowadays. Like a game will come out that it takes the world by storm and everyone fucking copies it.
Yep.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Tears
Hey,
of the
let's
Kingdom
throw a
totally
glider
ripped off
in our
Breath of the
game.
Wild.
Yep. Tears of the Kingdom. Just
Too real.
Yeah, I want to go back to the art real quick. I found this game's art to be like the epitome of what I love in sprite art, because it has like this super gritty like dithering and gradients between its tile palette, but it's so readable. I never struggled with the visuals,
Yeah.
other than like a couple stray bullets, but I find that to be like really difficult to pull off well, and this game absolutely nailed the visuals. Also, just the
think-
color palette is just beautiful. I love it.
I think when you're talking about like the game being readable, that's something that I think a lot of people take, and by a lot I mean probably all, like 99% of people just take for granted, because like there's tricks, you know, to making things pop and stand out
Mhm.
amongst the background, like adding a black outline or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
And like if like you see some games that don't do that, and like you can't tell what the fuck's going on at any point. Like older games, obviously, like there's like on the NES, there's a lot of jank, and the Super Nintendo, where like there's projectiles flying through the air, and you basically can't see them in a lot of points. But this
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
like they know, like they have the design principles down, like they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, you can look on
And
the
they do it
screen
very well.
and see like the projectiles that are enemy projectiles are these like weird tricolor strobing bullets. So
Yeah,
they
so
don't
like
look
they're
like
gonna
yours.
contrast at a certain frame no matter what.
Yeah, so you're gonna see them, and it's not like, oh shit, it blended in with my bullet and I got hit by it.
Yeah, it's just little things like that are so they're like it's something small, but it's like in a way it's huge because it can make or break the experience. The one thing we haven't talked about that I think we should talk about is the music.
Oh, the music. The music's fantastic. I
It's
remember
really good.
I got like throughout the game, it's great, but I think somebody mentioned it earlier. Stage 4's music, when you get to it, and it just goes and you're just on the
it's
bike, and you're
so
like,
hype.
yeah.
That's where the game really picked up for me.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
didn't even care how hard that level was. I loved doing it so much.
Yeah.
That was literally, other than Chrono Trigger, which I played for the first time a few years, I was like, that level completely wowed me.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
regardless of its age as a game, it's so cool.
Well, some-
yeah, and this is a relatively early SNES title, right?
Yeah, 92. So
Yeah,
2 years
like
in.
I'm sure when this game came out, and like people who are old enough to actually like appreciate it, they would turn it on and play it and be like, "Holy
yeah,
fuck.
it was probably an experience like, whoa.
It
Yeah.
looks and sounds like arcade quality, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed."
Yeah, my favorite music I think is Stage 3. That one stood out for me.
Stage this one. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I like this track a lot. You know what track I really like is the overhead sound level. The
Yeah.
yeah.
I would have rather just stood there and
that's-
listened to the music than play that level.
Oh yeah. I mean, the music could be anything, and you'd rather do that.
That's yeah.
I can see that level being so much worse on single player.
And I just felt like that the music in that level has qualities that make it like a quintessential Super Nintendo sound, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what the Super Nintendo sounds like.
Well, going back.
I feel like this.
No, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say a lot of things about this game is just quintessential Super Nintendo, and it kind of
Yeah.
like it does things with the tech, like Mode 7 in particular, where it doesn't feel tacked on. It doesn't feel like it serves the gameplay to have like
Right.
the rotating. I know you said Super, you don't like the overhead levels very much, but I feel like they really made a lot of like the Mode 7 features on the Super Nintendo without really feeling tacked on like just a tech demo might. It's very cohesive.
Yeah, it's a practical usage of technology.
Yeah, and like this stage, like this boss fight right here, where he's rotating and all that shit.
One
I
thing
guess-
though,
Yeah,
like when I say I don't like the overhead levels, I don't like when I play them. I'm not like ugh. I just don't think they're as fun as the side scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
totally fair.
I agree.
But like the music, so going back to the main developer, like that, so he wanted a low budget movie feel. So not only do the visuals like hit that perfectly, even though they are kind of aping like literally 80s movies, but he wanted the music to progress, which is why it kind of gets crazier, which is why that stage 4 hits so hard, because it's just like it keeps ramping up, and then stage
That's
5,
so cool.
like you said, Super, is also fantastic. Like as you go further, the music gets like more complex and like in depth.
Yeah. Agreed. It's just another part of this game that, painstaking attention to detail was taken. It wasn't just thrown aside. That's how you can tell games are made of passion, like real passion and love for the
They
craft.
definitely had fun making this game.
Oh, yeah,
and I agree with
every
the
screen.
passion. Like, how often do you see games where the walking sprite, they have different ones for the ramps? Like, that's crazy.
I didn't really notice that, but
It's
I'm glad
really
you pointed
cool.
it out.
It's true.
I think this section that we're watching right here with just like that mini boss was. I have a lot of moments when I play games for the first time where I'm just like, Super. I think you have these too because I've known you to say it when you stream, where it's just like this game is fucking awesome. Have those moments where it just
you're
clicks.
just like overwhelmed with happiness.
Yeah, I had a few moments like that in this game, and it was
Nice.
like stage 3 for sure, and then stage 4 when the rockets come out and you're riding the rockets. I was just like, holy shit moment.
I know. I know.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, when,
100% agreed.
when you
It looked
beat that
really
mini
cool. It was
boss
really
in
nice
stage
too, though.
4, that mini boss is kind of annoying. Like stage 4 is kind of losing me. Like it had that strong start, and then I was like, okay, this boss is annoying. Like his legs are wobbling all over. But then the rocket comes, or the helicopter comes down with a rocket, and it's like, jump on. You're like, what? And you jump on it, and you're hanging on to it, and the other guy comes up on it, and you're fucking jumping
Yeah.
around. I'm like, holy shit. And then the rocket part happens after that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
Just like picture a dude like jumping from rocket to rocket, firing a machine gun at a big aircraft. Like, dude, yeah.
I was honestly, I rolled my eyes in such a good way. I was like, they're gonna fire the rocket, and I'm gonna ride the rocket. And they did, and I was like, okay, it's pretty cool.
It's fucking great.
Like it's
dude.
obvious and super corny, but it like totally leans into that.
yeah.
Like you like to imagine that your character like yelled into the helicopter, like banging on the window. He's
Just
like,
said-
fire it! And he's like, oh, no, what are you crazy? I said fire it! Yeah, that's what happened. That's official.
That's canon. Somebody's
Yeah.
telling Konami.
Yeah, this game's badass.
Yeah, like it sets out for a look and a feel, and it's probably the most like of play a lot of games throughout my life, but of the games I've played that set out to do one thing and like hit that perfectly, like this game is like up there, if not like the most perfect example of that. It's like we want an action game, we want it to be badass, we want it to sound great, we want it to look great, like boom, like they complete package.
It also doesn't feel like they're trying too hard, like a lot of indie games that'll do it. It feels like
Yeah.
to go for that old school cool sort of feel, 80s. It doesn't feel. It feels
Authentic.
natural in this game. Yeah, it feels
Yeah, well, yeah,
authentic.
because
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
it was still the early '90s at this point.
Yeah.
So, like they were theming the game after something that was still relatively new.
Yeah, like Terminator
80s
2 would have come out
action.
the year before, and then you're looking at like fighting giant Terminator looking bosses.
Exactly.
The introduction to this boss is probably one of the best things in video games.
Yeah, dude. It's
'Cause
Yeah.
sick.
Like you're banging your head against those stupid jumping robot bitches, and you finally beat them. And you're like, "Fuck those robots!" And then the like mini boss theme plays, and the fingers come through the door. You're like, "Wait, what?" And
I
he
wasn't
rips it.
even mad when I died. I think
Yeah.
that's a huge testament to making an awesome segment if you don't even mind dying.
Yeah.
I thought this game did bosses so much better than like the original Contra.
I think this
So
game did
much
bosses better than a lot of modern 2D formers
Honestly.
I play. They're just so interesting, like
Yeah.
visually and mechanically.
Yeah, this game was made back in a time when you didn't have to be afraid of what you put in your game. Like it has to be hyper real. It has to resemble real life. Like no, it's like put a brain that shoots centipedes and fire.
better. Oh, dude.
Like that's give me more of that shit.
Yeah, I like that the final boss is like ground beef brain.
No, it's
And then
Metroid.
the eyeballs start coming out, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta dodge these.
No, man, you gotta shoot him. You get a
Yeah.
lot of extra lives.
Yeah, okay, you shoot them, but
I
you can't get
thought
all of them.
I thought that boss after the heart fight was like fucking super metal and awesome. Like
Oh, like the face
the
that comes out.
face that comes out of like the shell. I was like, this is some fucking
I was thinking that
Berserk
too.
shit, man. It was sick.
You know what's cool? You know what's really cool? This is like this is a Holden tidbit here. Sorry, Colin. The heart is the final boss of Contra 1.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh,
I was
that's
like, this
cool.
seems like literally the exact same thing.
And sorry, Chris. The face guy is the final boss of Super Contra.
Oh shit!
Oh,
So
that's so
for people-
cool. What the
Chris, I'm
heck?
so sorry.
That is
For
awesome.
people who played both of those games, they're like, "Oh, the heart! I killed him." And it's like, "Oh, cool, yeah." Well, and then the game doesn't end. You're like, "What the?"
Yeah,
fuck?
that's what I was like. Oh, I guess here we go. I guess I'm about to win. And then I
Yeah.
was like,
And then
oh,
the
shit.
face guy comes out, and you're like, "Oh, it's that guy again!" Then you kill him, and the game keeps fucking going, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" That's
It's like
next."
what? Yeah.
Ridley shows up.
I just want to
Yeah.
say that's exactly the reason why I like to play games in order, is because you have that knowledge and
Mhm.
it just makes it so much more
Yeah.
satisfying every time.
Yeah.
No,
Without
it's-
Fair.
You're validating
Chris.
his neuroses, dude.
Yeah.
It's not neuroses. Shit.
No, I
It's
know.
a legitimate thing,
I know.
and I respect it.
I give Chris a hard time, but it's only because I love him. I was gonna say I think the end, like that set of 3 bosses in the last level, is my favorite part of the entire game.
Yeah, it's.
I agree.
And I
pretty
didn't
good.
even know that they're related at all. I just thought like each boss was interesting. It was fun. It was just the right amount of challenging. I wasn't baby raging at anything or tantruming or anything.
Because
It's
the first two, you can have some. They're pretty easy strats to take them down.
Yeah.
It's not too annoying.
I found
And
the first phase. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like the final part where you have to you can control what he does if you shoot it at the right time. You know, like the
Yeah.
final meatball phase where he's spinning the things around. Like if you shoot the right thing, it makes the boss fight pretty easy.
Yes,
But it
the
was
eyeball.
I like the because I was using the laser. I like hitting the meatball variant because you could just sit in
Oh.
the corner and just turret him.
Yeah.
But anyway, like the variety of the different attacks and how you could
Mhm.
control it was very engaging.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it also gave you like power ups and lives pretty often, which I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is cool. I like that.
Another thing that I will add about the final boss. Sorry, Chris. On hard mode, there is an additional phase to the
I-
boss.
yeah,
I saw this.
It definitely hints that. It kind of scared me because when I was first beating it, I was literally on that eyeball phase, like fighting for my life at 0 lives. I was like, please God, give me an extra life in this eyeball phase. And I got one. I was like, all right, we're gaming. And I killed it. And then the brain was purple. I was like, it's gonna happen. What's happening? And then you fly away. I was like, shit, hard mode. Fucking
Doesn't
Konami.
it right before
Yeah.
you fly away, it opens its eye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks
Yep.
at you as you're flying away. But yeah, in hard mode, there's another phase,
That's awesome.
and
Maybe should we not spoil it, or should we just say what?
I mean,
I don't care.
it's
it's
let me
fun.
just say
You can go ahead.
there's not really anything to spoil. It's just an additional phase with the patterns to learn, just like the other phases. But
Mhm.
let me just say, there's moments in games where you get to a certain point and you're doing real good, and then everything just goes to shit and it falls apart and
It
you
is
die
that
and you get a
phase.
game over. But the thing about that phase is it's right at the fucking end of the game, right? And it's one of those things that we talked about where it's trial and error type of shit. And to put trial and error right at the end of the game, especially in a game with limited continues, it's fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard mode. It's hard mode. That's what
Yeah.
you signed up for.
Yeah, it's hard mode in a game that is fairly short, and somebody probably spent a lot of money to buy it, so give it
Right,
a lot
right.
of replay value
Yeah.
at the end of the game. Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. If you're not gonna play hard mode and try and beat it, look it up. Look up the final boss on hard mode. It's pretty cool.
I thought the animation was really awesome for that boss.
It's fucking terrifying, dude.
I
is.
saw it too.
When I played it as a child and I saw that shit, dude, I was like, oh, the noise it makes, and yeah. Anyways, it's sick.
Dang, I'm gonna have to put in the time to find this. This sounds exciting. I want to
It's pretty
experience
cool.
it, so I feel like watching it might not be, but playing this game on a hard mode, I know what's to look forward to because I got to stage 3 and I was fighting for my life. It was a struggle out there. I was like, oh fuck.
This game on hard mode is one of those things that if you accomplish it, it's something that you should be proud of. It's like beating Super Ghouls and Ghosts or something like that. It's like beating Celeste or Super Meat Boy. That's something you should That's bragging rights. That's what I'm saying.
Gamer
If you
cred.
beat this game on hard mode, it's goddamn.
There you go, Holden. You can restore your name.
Yeah, it's 100 gamer cred. I'm gonna start grinding this game now.
Let's race to see who can do it first.
Oh God, let's not.
Or play it together.
Oh,
Ooh.
think about
Naked?
it. Wait. Okay.
I mean, I was naked for my first playthrough, so
You got to be loosey goosey. You gotta let it rip. I mean,
Yeah, no distractions.
Contra guy he's got the sleeves torn off. Like he's getting there. If he could be naked, he probably would be.
John Contra.
Yeah, John Contra. Is he related to John Shinobi?
No.
John Connor.
Different timeline.
Yes.
Right, well, I think we're kind of getting to the portion of our overall thoughts, like our individual grades, if you will, Chris. And who would like to start us off with their kind of final thoughts of Contra 3?
Pick someone, Danny.
Chris, go.
You can't do that to me.
That's exactly why I did it to you.
All right, pick someone else.
Okay, go, Holden.
Okay. So I'm gonna give this game my highest review score yet, but I'm not saying it just yet. This game is the kind of game I would put down. Kind of what I was saying. I would put this game down if I weren't told, or we spun the wheel for it, just because it's hard. But sitting through and trying to beat it, even on my own terms, I had so much fun. I was so impressed. It's just a very important game for people to play, at least try, or even scrub through on YouTube. I would give this game. This is gonna be my first decimal score too.
Oh.
I think an 8.25. Very well designed, beautiful, but so obscenely epic, even for a SNES game.
Mhm.
Like it rivals modern game cinematics as far as I'm concerned. I loved it.
I have a
Such a
question
great
for
pick.
you. I don't want to interrupt you though.
Oh yeah, no, that was basically what I was gonna say.
So I thought you were going to give it a higher score, given your preamble. I'm curious what you think holds it back from, say, a 9 or an 8.5.
I mean, for me, 9.5 is borderline masterpiece territory,
Okay.
and getting there is just literally a matter of being like some of the best developers in the world, like polish, extra super minute details that accumulate to that, right? If that makes any sense.
Or like being groundbreaking, genre defining.
Yeah, and then like it makes strides in this genre, I'd feel. This isn't like my most familiar genre, but yeah. 8.25.
And the Holden judge
Solid.
gives it an 8.25. All right, Chris, you've had your time to collect yourself.
Okay,
Get those
I can-
papers out.
I feel like I have a lot more
heard
to
him.
say about this game that I didn't say, but I also didn't really write down. I don't know. I will keep it short and say I think this game is fantastic. I never played it prior to this, really, and it's like the quintessential amazing Super Nintendo action game, and it brings me joy that I can still play games, like still experience games like this for the first time.
Mhm.
And there's so many more to play,
I know
Feels
that
pretty good.
feeling. I
Yeah.
know that feeling.
Yeah, it's one of the best things about video games.
Yeah. And I think this game is very, very good. One of the best games I played this year for sure. I'm going to keep coming back to it. Beat it on normal for sure. Give hard a few tries every now and then. It's a game I see myself coming back to all the time for sure.
Since we're actually
Uh,
kind of looking at it, the one weird trick for this, like stage 4 fucked me up forever. But I found out, and it goes to show the design. When you hear the sound cue of the bomb, if you jump forward, you dodge it completely. So anytime
Yeah,
you
I
hear a
just
bomb,
jumped straight up.
oh yeah, yeah, you just hear that sound, you know to jump. Like, so as soon as you knew that, it was like, there you go. So,
I
can
actually got
appreciate that.
so frustrated by that part, and like so mad. I was so mad at that fucking.
It's
I
very
was
hard.
until I realized you could jump.
yeah.
I didn't think about it.
You ever just jump on a motorcycle?
Yeah, all the time.
and then just land, and the bike follows you forward or backward.
Well, dude, this is the ultra feature, so
Not
Not
every.
the regular
It's a smart
feature.
bike, dude.
It's the
Okay,
ultra
cool,
feature.
cool, cool.
Well, the best part about that is they totally hint it in the gameplay, but I was too busy fucking mauling about how possible it was and how much shit there was to dodge. Because if you try to dodge the bombs by going to the front, the guys with the guns on their bikes will shoot you in the front. And I was like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And rather than use my brain and think about it, I just wanted to bitch and get hit by everything. But then it finally hit me. I was like, maybe I should try to jump over those bombs. And then boom. It's like,
Yeah,
oh.
when in doubt, spam your controller.
I found that part to be like really random though. Sometimes I would run through it and I would like not die, and then other times I'd run through it and I would die like 2 times the bombs there, and I'd be like, well, that's it.
If you have the crush missiles in that part and you know to
Yeah,
jump
but
the
you could
bombs,
kill those guys a bit easier with those.
you kill them in 1 or 2 hits each, and you can rack up like 3 extra fucking lives on that part.
I do remember you getting a few more extra lives on that level than most, which is good. Because
Those the guys on the hover bikes are worth a shitload of points because you
Oh, is
kill
that
3 of them, you kill like 3 or 4 of them, and you get an extra life.
Yeah, I was
explain.
going to ask how you actually earn the extra lives because there's no point counter.
Yeah,
so I
it's
wasn't-
interesting. There's no on-screen point counter, only an end-of-level point counter.
I kind of
That's
like
how
it,
the
to
other
be honest.
countries are.
Yeah, I kind of assumed it was like the OG one because I think it had a point counter and you would get lives based on that.
It did not during gameplay. There was no point counter
In the first one?
Nope,
I thought. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I like it. Keep the HUD clean.
Yeah, I like it.
It is a very clean HUD. Oh, but sorry, Chris,
So-
to stage 4 diatribe.
Yeah.
Would you like to continue your...
Oh, I was pretty much finished. Yeah.
But what's the number, man?
Yeah, what's the number? What's the Christopher Cornhole number?
Okay, it's 3 Contras out of 30 Konami codes.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's praise right there.
That's a ratio of 1 out of 10, though. So
Yeah,
But
but
you always
Yeah,
gotta
no,
know
you-
what
How do
line
you
of
how do you know
action
what
it is.
Konami codes are worth?
Exactly.
It's like an algebraic fraction, so you can't just like. Actually, you still can.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless Darth.
bless up.
You can still. No, Colin's still right. You could still simplify it. Doesn't matter how much they're worth.
that's my life. I simplify everything.
Holden, it sounded like you had something to add there.
No, I wanted to hear Korn's number, man.
Oh, okay.
So I'm glad we got it.
Yeah, I mean the numbers are. Okay. Anybody who would like to go next? Colin, Super.
I'll go
Darth?
next. I'll go next. So, this game, I've played this game a bunch of times, and I think over the years, I've just grown to appreciate it more and more. As a kid, I played it, and I was like, yeah, this is sick. Games are cool. Every game is sick. Like, when you're a kid, you're just playing a video game. You're having a good time no matter what. Then, as I got a little older, and I started to actually play games with purpose and realizing what's going on, I kind of was like, this game's whatever. It's what, but I think it was probably just because it was hard. But then, I beat it when I was a kid with by cheating with my with my cousin. I think it was one of my cousins. I don't remember, but
It's Game Genie.
yeah. But then in my middle school years, I actually played it. And that's when I beat it legit for the first time. I didn't even really like it. I've always just been the kind of guy who's like, "Fuck this game! I'm gonna beat it because I fucking hate it." I'm weird like that. But now as an adult, I think this game is fucking great. It's amazing. It's fantastic, and it I don't know if it's genre defining, but it perfects the aspects of the genre. It doesn't break ground per se or do anything totally brand new, but what it brings to the table is just grade A, in within the genre.
Mhm.
One criticism I have besides the overhead levels, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times, when you kill enemies, it doesn't feel super satisfying.
Yeah, they kind of just
you're shooting.
melt.
Yeah, they kind of just fly in the air and go poop. They're just little poop, little when you blow on a dandelion, it just flies away. It's it doesn't feel substantial. Like in Doom when you shoot an imp with a shotgun point blank, that. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
If you feel it,
Or those
punch.
chunky metal slug animations.
Yeah,
Smash TV.
exactly. And the first two Contras have that. They have like heft to like your weapons, and I don't know. This game kind of lost it. I think because they're aiming for for a faster pace, which this game definitely has over the first two. Much faster. Another thing, this game is more zoomed in. Like your sprite is bigger, the enemy sprites are bigger, and you see less of the environment. But I think that's because they just wanted to show off the Super Nintendo's capabilities, right?
Yeah, big sprites were a huge deal at the time.
Yeah, like detailed sprites and like detailed everything was like a big deal because it's new technology. And that's totally understandable. Looking at it from a modern day perspective, it's kind of hard to think about it in that way because if you were like, a kid who loved playing video games, like I was, but I was really young. I was fucking 3 when this game came out. But like, let's say you're like a 10, 12-year-old kid and this game comes out and you see the visuals, like we touched on this earlier. It's like, what the holy shit.
It was literally like nothing you'd ever seen before.
Yeah. So they had to sacrifice like that, then zoom the game in a little bit to have that aspect of it. And at the time it makes perfect sense. But yeah, if I had to give this game a number, I'd give it an 8. Flat out 8. 8 out of 10. It does everything that it sets out to do very, very well for the most part. And I mean, it has good music, it has great art. It's satisfying once you start learning how to play it. It flows really well. It has lots of polish, like the readability we talked about. The backgrounds that that they have, you can feel the passion in everything in this game. And it's weird to say, I said it earlier, it's probably like one of my least favorite Contra games, like, but it's still a great fucking game like that. So that speaks to the series, how good it is.
Yeah, I come out of this like really excited to play the other Contra games because I'd only ever really dabbled in the first one and died a few times and be like, yeah, it's too hard for me, even though it's totally not because
They're I think Contra, the original Contra was probably the first game for me where I felt like that satisfaction in playing it over and over and learning and like overcoming it. I'm pretty sure the first Contra was the game where I first experienced that feeling.
That's a good feeling. It's why hard games are fun.
Exactly. That's why I torture myself with a lot of.
Yeah, it's like no video game. You're not better than me. I'm better than you.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, I may have died a million times and then beat the game once, but I still win.
I showed you, you bastard. It's like, oh,
I win. I
was spiraling when you said that.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, 8 out of 10. Highly recommended.
Oh yeah.
If you're interested in the history of video games or classic games at all, this is a must play. You must play it.
And I'll jump in the ring next. But like it's funny, this game, I like, as far as from how it feels, how it looks, that was fucked up, that death on the screen, and then I was stupid. But that was my fault. So like I can't blame the game for that because it plays super well. Like I was talking about, like right from the very get-go. It's just, it feels good. And like Super was also saying, like the things that die instantly, like to me, I liked that fast pace. I like this part right here. I was just I had the flamethrower. I was tearing through these enemies that are super annoying if you don't have and it just felt good. Like this whole game feels good, like while you're playing it. And then the sound design, like hearing things explode, the bomb going off, like the flamethrower, everything had this like crackly, like really heavy sound to it. It felt like you were like right there, like the action was hitting. But where I fell off was the gameplay is so tight, the guns are so cool that I started to get frustrated that I felt like the game had to be played a certain way. Like Darth and I were kind of touching on this, like his experience versus mine, where I found something that worked really well. This flamethrower on these little missiles, like perfect example, where I was like, why am I not going to do this? This is perfect. Because if I do something else, like there's more of a margin of error. I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to lose a life. Like it's going to sting. Like it's going to be bad. So rather than like a lot of games that I love the most, where there's like the freedom of like gameplay and expression, like how you play, like it just gives you the tools and says like, go nuts. I felt like this game gave me the tools, but didn't let me go nuts. Because it felt like if I didn't play exactly how I should, that it was a way worse time. Like maybe that's just me and I just wanted to be like, okay, I want to be gaming. I want to do this the best way. But there was no point like in using the regular gun or like switching to another weapon and trying to like move around the screen and dodge enemies and dodge bullets, because that was too dangerous. Like once I knew the solution, I stuck with that. And it's like, maybe it's the way I played it and not so much the game's fault, but it really hurt like going through the game because it made it boring. Like as soon as I went through the game and I knew the spots, it was like,
Doing
okay,
the catch up.
yeah, I'm like, now I'm on this screen. Like this is a perfect example. Can't get hit in this corner, shoot the flamethrower diagonally. You can do this entire fight just like that. Like, and it kind of simplified the game. Like every screen was almost like that. It's like, okay, this screen, do this. And if I did it any other way, like right now I could be walking underneath and like shooting it like while I'm underneath of it, but that was too dangerous. One of the dudes might land on me, it might start throwing bombs, and it was just the game rewarded you for like you got extra lives for your score for playing it super safe, which I like when you can just like go ham sandwich and it's like, yeah, that was sick. Like
a Sekiro, high risk, high reward.
Yeah, like I had
difference.
spread and I jumped over those enemies and shot it below me and I went to the other side. But it's like, what if the spread doesn't hit the enemy? What if I land on him? Like it was just like dying in one hit and lives being so valuable made me play this game in a really like, I don't want to say cheesy way, but really formulaic way, which really hurt my gameplay experience, which sucks because the gameplay is amazing and everything else about the game is amazing. So it's like from a gameplay and like the experience that I had, like that, unfortunately, the more I played it, the worse it got, which is weird. So like I was saying, when I 1cc'd it, it felt like a shmup. It was just like, I have all the power. I know what to do. This is the game. And it's just like, why should I play it any other way? But that being said, I know that sounded like a really just harsh diatribe. But everything else about this game, like, I'm not going to say perfect, but damn near. So I'd say the game sits at a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Like still great score. Like it's a great game, good game. But where it came to actually my experience and playing it, like I didn't have the most fun with how I ended up having to play it, but still,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
A game as a whole, like fantastic. Like the game itself, amazing. The gameplay experience, not what I want from a video game, but like I definitely respect it.
Good criticism.
All right, so Darth got us started. So Colin, do you want to go and then Darth can finish us out?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I think this game, from like a nostalgia perspective to now, like I think my enjoyment of it pretty much remained the same, proportionally anyway. You know, I really enjoyed this game as a kid. It's I don't know why, like I didn't play it that much, but I think I have a memory of being a little kid and just like having a dream about the turtle in the first, level.
Tight.
And so like for some reason this game like has a home in my brain and will never leave, right? Which is cool. I like it. So like I think that my personal enjoyment of this game, even though I'm sort of with Danny, this is not exactly the kind of game I go out and seek to play just for my own enjoyment. Because I'm the kind of person who I don't necessarily at this point in my life like to grind difficulty like this, which is why I use save states and why I quickly found out, as Danny was saying, that there are very choreographed answers to most of the difficulty in this game. Like this is the right answer. There may be certain other things you could do that could work, but certainly the flamethrower on that boss climbing up the wall in stage 3 is the easiest answer. And you are literally handed like 3 flamethrowers in that level, so you should probably use it. Kind of lost where I was going, but anyway, I think if I were to, I know I said I wanted to do this after I was super embarrassed about giving Croc an 8, which it doesn't deserve.
Hey man, Croc love goes hard. Okay.
I need to be on record saying that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that.
I apologize. I'm
I
stepping
also
down
think
from
my
my
score for Croc-
position.
I also think my score for Croc was too high, but I also felt bad because I didn't beat it. So
I'm
I was
dying
like, maybe
over
these guys
that.
found something I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. So what I want to do from here on out is like a personal enjoyment as well as critical. And I think and for this game, actually they all align. Like from a nostalgia perspective, my memory of it as a kid, critical enjoyment of it, or critical sort of analysis of it, and then my own personal enjoyment, all sits about an 8. It does a lot of things really well. It's iconic for me. I think it's a iconic game on the system itself, in the genre. And I'm saying this is not somebody who's played any of the other Contras, not a single one. So, maybe if I had, I would think differently. But, all around an 8. I agree with the criticisms so far. I agree with the praise that it has been given so far. So, overall, a really solid game, important piece of gaming history. Kind of a pain in the ass to play, but also super fun when you're feeling it. So, I think that's it.
Wait, what's your Croc rating? Have you reconsidered? Or are you just leaving that in the past?
So I think the reason I'm trying to separate my numbers, right, from like personal enjoyment versus critical, is that I think I enjoyed Croc at an 8. I really enjoyed it, even though the game's kind of hot trash. I think critically speaking, it would be like a 6 or a 6.5.
That's fair.
But I love it.
You're forgiven.
Look forward to the Crocs Redux episode at the end of the year. Where we...
Listen, in 3 years when we're cycling through all of our games, we've cycled through. I'm picking Croc too.
Oh shit!
No.
Don't think I'm not.
I'll pick Croc on the Game Boy Color.
Shit.
I'm gonna pick Gex.
Okay, I'm down. That's a video game that I have no opinion about.
That's a video game. One of the video games to exist.
Yes, one of the most video games of video games. All right, Darth, would you like to close us out with your final thoughts?
Sure. So I picked this game and I hoped kind of that it would like match, I guess, like how I felt about the original Contra, which I would say is kind of like synonymous with kind of my idea of like retro gaming or difficult video games in general, because it was really my introduction to both, aside from Zelda 2. And I would say that pretty much this game like trumped my experience playing that game, even though I definitely have like nostalgia for that game, which I thought was super awesome. Like I just felt like every aspect of the game, like the gameplay, the music, the enemies, the weapons, it all just felt like more advanced and more evolved. And so I just felt like I guess I just felt like I found more ways to appreciate it than I did the original Contra, which I'm comparing again, which I did with Faxanadu and Zelda 2. But that's kind of why I picked this game in the first place, I guess, is because of Contra, the OG. I'm just like, I kind of already talked about all the things I liked about it. I liked how it was sort of like different with every playthrough that I did, especially because I played with my cousin. And I think that honestly, it's a good thing that I kind of like, played the game that I wanted to, because it ended up, I think, increasing my enjoyment significantly, because I didn't have to like stick through playing it like a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was able to just like kind of like do it, and I still like really enjoyed like learning ways to cheese the bosses, because I was like, man, fuck, like kind of like a superset out. I'm the same way. I'm like, man, fuck this game, fuck this boss. Like I'm just gonna like, get dunked on. I'm just gonna stand in the corner and shoot you from here. What are you gonna do about it, sucker? And I found like find small victories and things like that. I just think it was really solid. Like the music, the gameplay, the level design. I really like the overhead levels, especially because I played it 2-player. I thought those were really fun as 2-player, and I really can't say. And like what I love, like my biggest thing with Contra when I first played it was that I found the last level really underwhelming, and the last boss fight really underwhelming. But I found this game's last level to A, be really hard, and B, like all the bosses were like super, super sick. And I didn't even know one of them was a callback, which makes it honestly even sicker having like been in this conversation now.
Yeah, hearing about that definitely kind of like opened my eyes to just how much more radical that part is.
Totally. And
Also,
I
that
literally,
animated tile set's metal.
Yes.
yeah, it's sick as hell. And the friggin' turrets are bullshit. But anyways, like my only criticism coming in for this like entire thing was like I was pissed off that you couldn't stand still and shoot diagonally. And I found out you could do that 5 minutes into our conversation.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that it's like perfect or like a masterpiece, because there are still times or areas I found really annoying, and doing the vertical levels in 2-player, despite the fact that there were 2 games before this. I never played the second one, but I'm sure it had the same problems. I'm kind of like a little bit peeved that they didn't fix that, because it's kind of bullcrap, honestly. I don't know how you would fix it, but they're smart. I'm sure they could do it. So for that reason, it's not perfect, but for a lot of reasons and more, I would think I would give this game a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
As a
I like-
prestigious score.
Yeah, I really like looking at like all the games that we've picked. I know a lot of them, and I'm just like, I don't know that like, and just like knowing all these retro libraries, I don't know that there's many games that all have as much of a connection to and enjoy as much as I enjoyed this one. And I will probably continue to cheat because it makes it way more fun for me.
I mean,
Darth, I think. Oh, pardon, go on.
Well, I was just saying, like, play the games the way you want. Like, if you're gonna have fun playing the game that way, do that. Like, you never have to feel bad about how you play a game.
Yeah, and
as
I,
long
like,
as you're having
used
fun.
I used a mechanic to do it. Okay, I used homing rockets, and I just went to the top of a platform in the first stage and held down the button.
But
And
if you use save states, you're a bitch.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
fine, too.
I joke about it, but the only person I am really judging is myself. So go ahead, go right ahead and cheat.
Could have done it on a Super Nintendo if I really wanted to. I guess you could also do the Konami code, but I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do this. It's kind of like how you find out you can get like infinite lives in Mario, and you're like, let's try this. No,
Let me kick that Koopa shell.
yeah, let's try it. See what happens.
I,
Yeah.
I completely forgot that you could even do the Konami code in this.
You can't-
Only the Japanese version.
Oh,
Oh.
you can't do the Konami code?
No.
I guess I just didn't even consider
Yeah.
that it was a
Free
Konami
30
game.
lives. Yeah.
Your Konami
So-
game.
So, Darth, I think that was a really good review. I just want everyone to know that he gave his own game a 9 and gave my game a 3.
Yep.
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 Yeah, well, and that game also made me give Crocs a higher score, so Croc or whatever.
Crocs. Crocs.
I
is
mixed it up with Gex, man. It was like the same game, anyways.
Okay. I have no opinion on Gex, but hey, whoa, you better.
Yeah,
One of them is good, dude.
Yeah.
Is
one,
Gex
of them
one of
is,
our-
one of them is Croc.
They're
Yeah,
both
Croc is the good one.
I
they're
don't-
both bad.
I don't think anybody
they're
has
both
picked Gex. Okay. I cannot properly defend Gex, but let me tell you, if we get that game, I will properly defend it, or maybe not.
I'm so excited to draw to the wheel.
Oh god, I'm scared.
Oh shoot.
Got a good feeling.
Oh, it's spin time.
Well, no, there's actually one thing I want to say. We brought up the final stage and talking about how all like the bosses were cool, which I agree with, but I hated that fucker on the wall because he lived in my head rent free because I would have crush and spread, and I was like, I'm getting to the boss with crush missiles. I'm gonna do it, and he would always hit me. I would always lose the crush missiles and then proceed to never get hit by him. But
On
as
the
soon-
final level,
yeah, the silver guy, the teleporting guy on the
The
wall.
dragon.
Yeah,
I had a good strat for him, but I guess if you're literally restarting the game over every time, that would be infuriating.
It'd be like nerve wracking, I think, getting to that part, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the what I found about that boss, sorry, is just like if you get nervous, you will lose against him. But if
exactly.
you're just patient, then you can just wait for his little teleport and then
Yeah.
hit him.
like I was so worried about losing crush missiles. That's all I could think about. And as soon as I lost him, I never got hit by him. But it was like I never got past him with crush missiles. I probably fought him like 12 times. Like,
It's cool in games how like I guess like the way our brains work is some people will come upon a thing and see it differently and be like, oh, that was super easy, and then you, Danny, get to that boss and you're like, that's what I can't do it.
yeah, fuck.
It is just like I know when I got to him, I don't think I even got hit. I was like I kind of just knew what he was gonna do without
Mhm.
knowing what he was gonna do, just because I don't know.
I thought it was really interesting that he looks like that thing that climbs on the wall, and you kind of have to fight him the same way.
Yeah, his
I'm like,
pattern's very similar.
Yeah,
He's-
man. Yeah,
He's
totally.
the organic version.
Yeah,
Deepest lore.
deepest lore.
I do think the first phase of that last boss fight was really freaking annoying, though, until I learned you could hit his little stupid arm mouths when he was coming down. Because they were just like extend, and you're just like, what do you do about that? I kept trying to fight it in the middle, and I was like, what the fuck?
You
If
just
shoot,
duck.
shoot diagonally.
Yeah, you just duck and shoot.
Yeah.
back. Oh well, Darth didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I mean, like what you can do is you can just jump and then
Yeah.
like shoot like that diagonally. That's how I always did it. I think that's. Could you do that in the OG Contra 2 Super? Like press
What?
L
There's
and
no
R.
button. There's no R button
Yeah,
on
it's
the.
A and
Yeah,
B.
it's true. Yeah. So I just like I just used my my OG Contra skills to just like jump in place and shoot diagonally, and that worked kind of okay. Not great though.
Not great though. That's the best part, because we sit down for these discussions and it's like, oh shit, what? Like,
Yeah, I think every
Yeah,
game so
every
far there's been
time.
something.
It would have been
missing
an 8 out
mechanic.
of 10 for me if I
Read
didn't
the
know.
manual.
Like, god damn it. Fine, I'll read the manual next time. I'll probably forget.
yeah, we're gonna find out all about
I'm
Simon's
posting
Quest.
the manual.
Do it, please do.
I will.
He's gonna do it, and I'm not gonna read it out of spite. And I'm gonna be like, well, I didn't know how to X and Y, and this game
This game
sucks.
sucks because I don't know.
Skill issue. All right. Well, I feel like
So, I
Yeah?
think before we spin, we should address something.
yes.
What's up with the fucking sick layout and the sick logo? Dude?
Yes.
What's going on
Yeah,
here?
it's
So-
pretty awesome.
It is definitely all Holden. Holden put together this layout. He put together that fucking logo, which I've been staring at
Damn,
literally
dude.
this whole
Looks so good.
time. Yeah, I just love watching it spin.
It's fucking amazing. It's professional. It's literally professional quality.
Yeah,
Like,
I get
There's no other way to put
saved,
it.
but you guys haven't skills to pay the bills because I'm just here. Like I said, I just click start streaming.
You know, I was really happy you guys even wanted to commit to this idea, and you've all been so enthusiastic about it. I mean, what was this, our fourth?
It's fourth.
I mean, months
yeah.
have gone by, and we're still doing this. So, wanted to make something for Danny and the boys.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
It's so
excited for
freaking
the
awesome.
next game too.
Can we get a shout out to Holden?
yeah. Can we get
Golden
some shout outs
Holden.
for Holden's Golden Holden and the Mommies? His band. Check them out on SoundCloud.
Check them out on what is it?
MySpace.
Yeah, check him out on MySpace.
Yeah.
OnlyFans. Yeah, check his Patreon. But no, Holden, it looks fantastic. Thank you very much for your hard work, and yeah, like I said, well, you proposed this idea, and the reason we're all so gung ho about it is because it's a great idea. It's super fun. Like playing these games, it's funny. I didn't actually take notes. This is the first game I haven't taken notes because
Same.
I was too busy fucking playing it. But I rewatched my footage and like kind of collected my thoughts. But I enjoy playing these games even more than I probably would just sitting down because I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, well, what is everybody gonna think about this part? Like,
Yeah.
or like, how did they deal with this? And I'm like really excited to like have the talk and like
Yeah.
it's just and then
Agreed,
sitting down,
100%.
yeah, like talking it all out, having the good conversations. Like it's
Holding
a
in
blast.
something you've been really angry about the entire
Yeah, I
month.
was gonna say I'm excited to bitch. Pretty much is my thing.
Just let it all
It
out.
gives you something to look forward to, and that's one of the most important things in life.
That is true.
That's true.
Speaking of looking forward to things, let's get to the part that
Ooh.
everyone is
That's the
looking
best
forward
part.
to. It's not
Yeah,
the best
fuck playing
part.
The game.
Stop
Spin the
calling-
wheel.
Okay, we need to know. We cannot react.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will not react.
Do not react.
So I've got to take Contra 3 off of this wheel.
I'm reacting.
Stop reacting.
So we still have every game on the wheel.
Do
We just have to
do we just-
respin if we.
Yes.
And can I just ask, like, so once we've done a full rotation, maybe we already talked about this twice. Do we just go from what's left, or do we add a new game to the roster?
I don't think we've come to a conclusion on
Yeah.
that.
Danny's been
Yeah, we'll talk
asking-
about that.
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about it.
figure that.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we got the sound, we got the wheel. So let's
Wonder at what point though are we upgrading to a physical wheel that you spin on camera?
Oh, Leo spins it. He just jumps on it to spin it.
They put a
Springboard.
treat on it.
When you take the old game down, you pull the piece of paper off it and crumble it up and eat it.
Oh, that's a good
Never-
idea.
It's
Oh,
like
really?
it'll be like a thing in a sitcom where it's like a trademark thing that a character does, and everyone's like, "Oh,
Oh, he did it again. Chomp. All right.
Yeah, we gotta get Leo to spin the wheel.
Here it is. The wheel.
no,
Everybody.
don't react.
I'm
Give
not,
it, give
I'm
it a
not.
solid 5 seconds.
Okay, I'm clicking it. I'm gonna click it.
Wait. It's,
I'm-
okay, never mind.
I'm waiting. All
Go
right.
ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wheel.
Oh, I've been
Oh,
excited for this one.
don't get too excited for it. It's one of Super's picks.
Oh shoot.
No, it's one of my picks.
Oh, let's
wait,
go.
it is. Damn.
It is my
Yes.
pick.
We're continuing the streak, so it has to be my pick next month, or we cancel all of this.
Yeah.
See
Hell
ya.
yeah, man.
Well, thank fucking God it was Chris's pick, but it was not Simon's Quest, as we were all fearing. It's flirting with it. I hate that it flirts with it. But so that means our next game is it Goemon, Legend of the Mystical Ninja?
No, it's just the
Legend
of the Mystical Ninja.
Ninja?
Yeah. I have no clue what this game even is, honestly. I
I
don't even know
played
if I've
5
seen
minutes of it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think I remember it looking kind of weird, but in a kind of weird way I can get behind.
Hell
Exciting.
yeah, dude.
This game, maybe that's
Wow,
right.
the box art looks very interesting.
See, okay, so
Yeah.
It reminds me of old Mega Man.
from Darth saying that, I feel affirmed in my thoughts.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about? Super with like the super like ridiculous face on Mega Man. Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
that Western art style.
Oh god. Nightmare fuel.
All right, well, that's like, here we go. We got another game. We got another
It's another
month.
Konami game.
Oh, it better have that intro so I can get dummy
Sponsored
hype.
by Konami.
Hey, Konami, if you're out there, hit me up.
Making pachinko machines.
Okay, Konami, if you want me to make a pachinko machine, you can get fucked. But if you
I'll
want,
make one.
okay, he'll make one. But Turtles in Time, actually, Reshelled was really good, but it's got nothing to do with Konami. Anyways, gentlemen, Colin, Chris, Holden, Darth, Super, thanks for joining me. It's always a blast.
Pleasure.
And now we
Pleasure.
have a new game, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, to look forward to. And everybody get your notepads out and get your save states written. Oh, Chris is already ready. Yeah.
Sorry, it's killing me.
All right. Well, I'll see you gentlemen together next month for our discussion of The Legend of the Mystical Ninja.
Hell yeah. See you later.
ya.
Bye.
See
Thanks as always,
ya.
guys. Take care.
All right. Everybody else hanging out, watching in the chat room, all the boys. Always a good time. Looking forward to the next one. And we'll see you next month for episode 5 of Seriously Casual. Catch you guys later.